traders, as always, putting the spotlight on all that's happening, not just in the secondary market, by the way, but also in the primary market, where there's never a dull moment. Thank you for joining in. I'm Surabhi Upadhyay. With me, as always, Nimesh Shah, as well as Nigel D'Souza. And today we have a special guest joining in, Ramesh Mantri, CIO at White Oak Capital AMC. And as we get started, let me tell our viewers that White Oak has been one of the very early investors in the new age companies, in the internet-based companies. Ramesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I hope you're ready.
Yes.
You know, we're fired up with our questions. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
But overall, guys, I mean, it's an okay week. We don't have a big move to talk about at the index level. But I guess, I mean, most of the earnings that we've seen, it's been more positive than negative, from what I can remember.
Well, that's right. I think, you know, the 26,000, 26,100 odd mark seems to be a bit of a hurdle, but I think it's just near term. The trend seems still to be up, you know, till the 25,500 mark on the downside gets violated. The 20 DMA as well is in that vicinity. But towards the end of the week and the close on Friday was a little bit uncomfortable, though we did manage to, you know, support to not break the lower levels. So that's okay. What went on in the week, you know, the earnings season continues and you're getting those positive earnings, you know, you could say that expectations are so low that that's why the numbers don't look so bad. But the hope is that the second half of the year will be far better, and the ingredients appear to be in place for that sort of a that sort of a result. The FI selling though returned. Remember, the last few weeks the FI selling has been on a bit of a hole. Last three trading sessions again they've started selling a little bit. So let's hope that doesn't get too bad. And we were complaining that there are shorts in the system are actually less. Now, they've added some shorts as well, which may not be such a bad thing. Shorts in the system is what you want. But in terms of flows, you want a more or less neutral number coming in from the FIs. The Fed rate cut, well, that was on expected lines. So net, it appears that the market still appear to be, you know, in an uptrend. However, earnings is going to be most important because we keep complaining about the flows. But the flows will turn positive once we have better earnings. I think the foreign money will come gushing in. So tell us, how are you feeling about the markets, Mr. Mantri? I mean, what's your take? Cautious, getting constructive? We've had a period of underperformance. Our time has come.
You know, I think, you know, clearly with this last 1 year of underperformance, particularly relative to the world, I think the relative valuations have corrected quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think lower inflation, lower rates, now this GST push, I think clearly the environment is really improving. You know, you're also seeing a strong revival in consumption. So I think I would say I'm positive on equities now. Even our asset allocation models are now overweight equities.
So, but you know, Ramesh, then what would be a strategy? A top down or a bottom up? Because India has generally been a bottom up. But you know, if you look at even in the last say 4 weeks, last month was good in terms of top down. Nifty, Bank Nifty did very well. Now there are first signs of broader markets, you know, starting to do some catch up. From here, if the market has to rally, you think the broader markets will participate much better?
No, I think it'll be now a lot less about the cycle or the broader markets. It's individual companies, how they'll perform. And you are seeing a number of good results in the smaller companies.
Yes.
And those companies, even in this kind of market, in a weak market, even today, a number of stocks were up more than 5%. Yeah. So that tells you people are still willing to buy into stories which are delivering growth.
Yes.
So that's the real sign that matters.
Yeah, you know, we keep talking about the market just 1 or 2% away from all-time highs. The Nifty next 50, that is 12% away from all-time highs. The small cap index is 6-7% away from all-time highs. So portfolios ain't feeling anything like that 26,300 that we keep talking about.
Yeah, I guess. Ramesh, let's dive straight in, because I think the one thing that's very clear in the market is that everyone's looking out for adding some innovation stocks in their portfolio. Now, you could call it renewable energy, it could be, you know, consumer tech companies, it could be quick commerce, it could be guys who want to set up data centers in some way. What are your thoughts on this? Because like I introduced earlier as well, that you guys were very early on into looking at technology from a fresh lens, not traditional IT services. So, you know, what comes to mind now? What have you been doing?
See, one of the advantages is we have looked at how the US markets have evolved, how, you know, East Asia has evolved. So you know what patterns play out at certain point. And India, with young demographics, the kind of access to cheap data we have, you know, a lot of these new businesses will get adopted. Demographics is also a huge factor. Young people just adopt technology quickly. So clearly now the important point is a lot of those new age businesses, one, have hit critical scale. Number two, many of the entrepreneurs have figured out that you cannot burn cash and you have to focus on sustainable economics. The companies that didn't figure that out have died down or got, you know, you could not get funding. but the ones which have figured out, the unit economics and are now able to deliver strong growth. So if you look at today, what are the fastest growing businesses in India? Invariably, it will be a tech-led new age business.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's talk about the IPO of the week, right? I mean, social media was a buzz. Everyone's talking about the new IPO. Lenskart, I'm going to get your view on that. But for the timing, Surbhi, you want to give us a preview, run us through the basic
just
details?
some of the basic numbers. And obviously, I mean, the issue got subscribed on day one itself.
Yeah.
And I think Lenskart is an issue which has stirred up the biggest debate that we've seen in the last many months on social media and even otherwise. And the debate is all about valuation once again. And you would have, seen a lot of the memes, a lot of the raging views which are out there. Now, let's get to the heart of this debate and where it really is coming in from. So some of the basics first, starting with the price. At the upper end, Lenskart is calling out for 402 rupees per share, which means that if it lists somewhere in this vicinity, then we'll be looking at a company that has a market cap of 70,000 crore rupees. So, that is the big number first to focus on. Let's look at, what exactly is happening, what kind of an issue is it? It's a mix of an OFS as well as a fresh issue, but the money that's coming into the company, it's a lot lesser. That is just about 2,150 crores. The rest is actually an offer for sale. So all put together, they're raising just under 7,300 crores from the company. Also important to note that in this OFS, after this issue is done and the dilution happens, the promoter's shareholding is actually going to go down. It's going to come down from just about 20% to 17.7%. So something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about the anchor book. Because even though the asking rate was 402 rupees per share at the higher end of the band, it's managed to, whet appetite across institutional investors, local as well as global. So this is how much they've raised, little under 3,300 crores. And the total allocation to domestic mutual funds, 21 mutual funds, comprising 35% of the money that they've raised through anchor investors. And it's many times the anchor book itself, the size of the anchor book. So these are the names. The who's who of the Indian MF industries out here: SBI Mutual Fund, HDFC, ICICI Pru, SBI Life, Axis, Kotak, White Oak, of course, we're talking to them, and a bunch of life insurance companies as well that have participated. But FIIs are also equally active, and some big names here from the Norwegian government pension fund to the government of Singapore, T. Rowe Price, BlackRock, and several others. So, the story has been sold strongly and institutional investors are biting. Then where is the debate? Now let's come to the details on the company, what it does and its financials, what we know as of the draft red herring prospectus. We all know Lenskart is a very well-known brand, admired brand. A lot of us have, perhaps connected with it as customers. But what's interesting is that its business is not just limited to India. It has an international presence and a significant one and a growing one. 40% of its FY25 revenue actually came in from international operations. Singapore, for instance, is one market that it's very active in. It has 2 manufacturing facilities which are here local in the country itself. Now the numbers actually don't look bad, because at least here's a company which is profitable when it is coming to the market. So this is the store rollout, which the numbers that were just there. But coming to the FY25 numbers, a revenue of about 650 crores, an EBITDA margin which is almost touching 15%, and a profit after tax of 297 crores. That EBITDA margin number, by the way, looked even better if you're looking at the Q1 financials, because now it is 17.7%. So on the financials, I think the investors are going to be happy. But we come back to the main central question, and that question is the pricing. And here's how the numbers stack up. At a price to sales multiple, this is trailing, we're talking over 10 times. At a price to earnings multiple trailing, we're talking over 200 times. That's the Lenskart story as it comes to the listed public market. So now, Ramesh, that's really the question to you, right? And I think you guys have participated. So, just give us your thought process. This is not a buy or sell conversation, but we want to understand your thought process. What made you comfortable subscribing, even though that when the asking price is what it is, what we're seeing on the screen?
Mr. B, it's not appropriate for me to comment when an IPO is on. Yeah.
Okay.
Understand. No,
but a broader
give us a broader sense on how should investors value
I think
the platform
one of the most
businesses.
important ideas about investing is you are not investing in the past, you are investing in the future.
Sure.
One of the companies that has created the most value in India in the last 4-5 years was hugely loss-making when it went public, right, on the food delivery side.
True.
It is still not very profitable, even as we speak today.
Yeah.
but just look at the value creations happen. One of the other fintechs that went public about 3 years ago was not making money then. It's actually now turned profitable. So we are not buying the past. You're buying the future. And remember, in certain categories, there is a potential. Please understand, there is a potential for Indians to build world-beating companies over a long period.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll give a very simple example. How many of you know that globally in eyewear products is probably one of the most consolidated industry in the world? One company, Luxottica, which actually there was an Italian company and a French company that merged. Luxottica and LSR merged. They dominate the entire global eyewear industry. Some of the most premium brands in the world, you'll often see 3 eyewear stores, but they're actually owned by the same company. That's the kind of consolidated industry. It's an industry with tremendous margin.
And how far are Indian valuations vis-a-vis global benchmarks where businesses have stabilized? I mean, it's okay we are a market that typically trades at a premium on everything.
Yes.
But just to understand.
No, so I think it's very early. I'm just saying it's all about the future. For example, if you look, the quick commerce model globally completely failed.
Yeah.
But India now it's understood the model works. So you always have to use the local context.
Sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to look at a US comparable, it's never going to work.
It's not going to work. You know, one more point on this, Ramesh, and that's something that we always think about. The usage of the word technology has also become very loose. These days, everybody, including my, wonderful, next door tailor, wants to say that he's a high-tech person. And that's okay. It's aspiration. Every company is going through a transformation, and tech is a huge part of that. But this is also where things get a little fuzzy in the, in the markets, where it gets hazy between truth, reality, and a bit of fiction as well. So at the end of the day, I mean, some of these businesses, should we look at them as retail businesses, as eyewear companies, as consumer companies, or as technology companies?
See, I would say one is a technology company that finally deals with data, 0 and 1s. There's no physical product. And other kind of businesses are which tech-enabled. Even food delivery is actually tech-enabled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even quick commerce, the core product is not technology.
Yeah.
But let's say if you're using a UPI transaction on an app. Remember, there's nothing physical. There's just data.
No, that's a point well taken, because there is an app and that is your interface largely.
So a lot of businesses are actually tech-enabled. Yeah. Tech is a core part of the moat of how it gets done. But fundamentally, they're tech-enabled business. They are not tech business.
Sure. Ramesh, the other theme that you've been very bullish on is the data center.
Yeah.
Again, there is a lot of myth around how to play this theme. Is the real estate play the best play who are getting into data center? Just explain us how are you playing the data center theme?
See, if you think of a data center, it's actually fundamentally 3 things in a data center. 3 large cost items. One is a building, high-grade building. Number 2,
cooling systems.
Number 2 is a large cooling system. Absolutely. Because the servers, GPUs generate huge amount of energy.
Yeah.
So you need a world-class cooling system. And 3, a huge amount of power. Both primary power, because you need so much, it's energy intensive, and a backup power if the primary power fails.
Sure.
So the opportunity, I would say, is building and owning data centers may not be a great business. Sure. But if you're a critical component supplier, either on HVAC systems, cooling systems, or on power, or backup power, think of generators, gas generators, think of key transformers, think of the HVAC systems, complex HVAC systems.
Yeah.
Those are the companies that are going to make a lot of money. Sure. And interestingly, there's an opportunity in India, and I would say in a data center built out, India is at a very early stages. Yeah. Considering all the geopolitical concerns that are out there, governments will require data to be saved locally.
Yeah, correct.
So that is going to create a huge boom on data center construction within the country. Yeah. But interestingly, there are Indian companies which are participating in the global data center capex cycle.
Right.
Whether they are supplying into HVAC systems, whether they're supplying into energy systems and power backup systems.
Sure.
So there's opportunity on both sides.
In case our viewers are wondering what is HVAC, high voltage alternating current. So it's just so that you're not lost in the acronym. But I guess, great thoughts, and we want to discuss more of this, other themes, innovation beyond that, but we need to take a very quick break. So back in just a moment.
Welcome back. You're tuned in to Editors Roundtable. Well, I want to come across to you. We discussed the new age themes. Wanted to focus on the banking names because that's clearly got a good amount of interest, Mr. Mantri.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of infusion, whether it's Sammaan Capital or you're looking at Yes Bank, RBL Bank, Federal Bank, and I believe Nimesh tells us there's more in store. So we'll wait by for that. What is your view? This kind of capital that's rushing behind banks. How would you place this theme? NBFCs, banks, public sector, private sector banks, your take?
See, the only reason banks get into trouble is asset quality.
Yeah.
And we had a small asset quality cycle in unsecured loans, in MFI. That's over.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you talk of, whether corporate, prime, retail, there is no asset quality issues in India. And in India, if you want to deploy a lot of capital, financial services is really the opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's an extremely well-regulated sector. It's been very profitable. The regulation by various regulators is, the prudential norms are well managed. I would say the central bank is probably one of the best central banks in the world in terms of in financial markets regulation. So it's a very attractive sector where you can deploy billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So I think
and it's coming, right? We already saw big checks getting drawn for.
Yeah, because you can't deploy billions of dollars in India in consumer, right? Which is a large sector. It's very hard to find those opportunities where you can put billions of dollars to work in the consumer sector, but you can put it to work in financial services. So that's the real sector. And I think the fundamentals are very strong. Growth is coming back with the GST cuts. Margin pressures are going away. There are no asset quality concerns. And actually valuations are also quite reasonable.
Yeah.
So which part of financials, to be a little more specific? I mean, it's a very wide universe.
Yeah, so I see, of course, I would say one is the lending businesses, but because the asset quality cycle is now looking good, you can actually go down the curve.
Okay.
Because see, when the asset quality is uncertain, you tend to go towards the most safest banks,
absolutely.
who are the most prudential lenders. But as the asset quality picture is getting better, people can start taking risk on the lower, smaller names, because they are at the margin the biggest beneficiary when things improve, right? So people are going down the cap curve. So lending across the board, there is clearly opportunity. And I think the other part of financial services that's attractive is the whole wealth management and asset management space, which is again seeing very strong growth and competition coming.
Speaking of asset management, that was the other big debate of the week, right? I mean, all the stockbrokers are saying, what is this? Sell side can never have, or buy side can never have as great research as sell side.
Yeah.
So therefore, please pay for it. Your thoughts on the asset managers and the brokers, because those stocks got pummeled when this draft paper from SEBI came out.
See, first let's understand it's a draft paper.
Yeah.
So people will provide feedback and there'll be a...
No, but is this a MiFID kind of event for us? You feel so?
I don't know whether the regulator thinks on the MiFID lines, right? Where they want to segregate execution and research. And, that's been the MiFID idea. So I'm not sure of that. I think they looked at the trading cost of arbitrage funds and then implemented similar norms, suggested similar norms. But the important point to understand is arbitrage fund trade at a huge volume.
Yeah,
so a person that gives you a huge volume pays a different price versus a person who gives you a very less volume.
Yeah.
So, and secondly, it's like in a same customer, right? In a train, there's economy class, there is first class. You can't say apply economy class prices, 2 tire prices to the first class guys. Because the train makes money off the entire average, So that concept has to be understood and appreciated. And I think there'll be a rethink on some of these elements.
Yeah, that's the hope. I spoke to Mr. Ramdev Agarwal as well, and he said, this could be damaging in current form. So hopefully he believes that, there will be some tinkering out. But since it's the end of the week, let's cheer up things, right? If there was one sector where we have seen good amount of beats, it's the Alco-Bev sector.
I can guess that.
I knew it.
I knew it. I can preempt that question every Friday.
Very carefully.
But not
beer.
Not beer. People are consuming the hard liquor, And the few numbers we got. We had Radico Khaitan, great numbers out there. You had United Spirits, superb. You have Allied Blenders that's already at a 52-week high. Float is limited.
And associated alcohol, I said yesterday, and look,
we had one of the influential investors in Purunju bought a lakh shares in that one. And Tilak Nagar Industries, they're having brandy. They're going to have a stiff peg of whiskey, but still people are buying it. Normally people be cautious, it's becoming very expensive. How are you approaching that?
And let's not forget, those who are only making the mixers with the drinks now want to get into drinks as
Correct.
well, at least in Africa. Varun Beverages saying, they want to try with Carlsberg. So much going on.
Yeah, so how are you all approaching that theme? Because clearly, I remember Madhu Kela as well. He said that there's a single company in China, and that company is valued more than all our companies put it together. Montai, right? And we had discussed it on this show itself a while back. Do you buy into this sort of a bullish argument, or there's another part? When I speak to some of my younger cousins, they say we're getting to healthy living. We don't want to consume so much. I don't know what's wrong with them, but you tell us.
So first, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm a teetotaler.
Yes.
So that's the. See, I think two perspectives here. One, there's a very large potential out there. I think that opportunity was true 10 years ago, 20 years ago also. And with rising per capita income, people drink better. So this is one of those categories where premiumization just goes off.
Yes.
It's not people drink more, they drink better. Right? So that's why premium brands come into play. So one, it's a great category and people are fairly loyal to brands, right? The challenge is that India operates like 28 different countries in alcohol beverage regulation. It's not one country.
Yes.
In GST, we are one country, is to operate every state has a different way of working, and every time a state government changes within that state, they change whether who retails, the format of retailing, the pricing is controlled by states. It's a chaotic structure, so it's a very difficult market to operate. It also means people who are set there are in a great position. It's very hard for newcomers to come into the market. So it's a great market, and I think if the regulators become easier on allowing more. Let's say one of the biggest change in alcohol can be if you allow more places where alcohol can be served. I'll give you an example. In Bombay, the experience of buying alcohol is generally very poor, right? You go to Delhi or Gurgaon, just look at the nice showrooms where you just like you walk into a supermarket and you can also taste wine, right? At the store. So the experience of buying alcohol is very bad, right? So there are a lot of challenges in alcohol in India. You're also right about the second commodity, young people. In US, whiskey consumption, alcohol consumption is falling. Because the same narrative that people are changing behavior because of health habits.
Nice.
But I'm not worried about
white drink.
India.
People are moving to white drink, the gins and vodka.
But I'm not worried about that mega trend. It's like people saying, are people eating more? People are eating healthy food, but are also people eating more junk food? And over a long period, it's actually the alcohol consumption will continue to grow a long time in India.
I think Nigel has a lot to think about, whether it's coffee this evening or whether it's something else. on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Ramesh, great conversation. So nice of you to come over. We'll look forward to the next one. But for the time being, it's a wrap from the whole team that puts this show together. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you with the markets again bright and early on Monday morning. Everybody's there. Yeah. So this is, guys, just note, is Arun the PCR, the producer? His answer ends by saying, so focus on the HVAC systems. Cut. Now I'll ask him, so HVAC, you mean, he'll give the full form, we'll take a break. Okay? Yeah. So Ramesh, okay, I'm just big on this acronym. So HVAC is what? High voltage? What is the full form? Okay.
This is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, temperature management system,
which are extremely important for data centers. So watch out for these businesses as well. Ramesh definitely has his eye on them. On that note, we are going to take a quick break. More questions with Ramesh in just a bit.
Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on Business 360. I'm Shriram Finance. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Dalal Street continues to see selling pressure. The Sensex loses over 450 points. The Nifty drops below 25,800. Both indices also snap a 4-week winning streak. SEBI Chief Tuhin Kantapande says we cannot just shut down weekly F&O expiries. Adds we have to find the right approach as many participants are using them. India and the US sign a 10-year defense framework on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Malaysia. Indian government sources say both nations will enhance defense industrial cooperation, focus more on co-development and also work on underwater domains. The framework also covers more military exercises between India and the US. Higher realizations boost Maruti Suzuki's Q2 revenue. However, higher input costs, ad expenses and the cost of a new plant drags margins lower. Big tech continues to beat estimates in Q3. Apple reports its highest ever revenue from India, marks the 14th straight quarter of record iPhone sales. Amazon posts its fastest cloud revenue growth in nearly 3 years. Big tech has promised to pour $400 billion into artificial intelligence this year. Cognizant explores a secondary listing in India through an Indian depository receipt in a bid to enhance shareholder value. Talks are underway with regulators and the proposal is at an exploratory stage. Lenskart 7,200 crore rupee IPO sails through on the first day of bidding thanks to strong demand. The company raised over 3,200 crore rupees from 147 anchor investors, 35% of allocation made to 21 domestic mutual funds. Tata Trust to hold its first board meeting since Maili Mistri's ouster on the 11th of November. The trust is yet to issue a statement on Mistri's tenure coming to an end. Legal experts say Tata Trust must inform the charity commissioner that Mistri's tenure has ended within a 90-day period. 4 years after shutting operations, Ford plans to revive its Chennai plant and focus on next-generation engines, signs an MOU with the Tamil Nadu